Hi, this is Dan Whitney with the Whitney Law Firm in Towson, Maryland. Today we're going to talk about how did I get bed bugs? And more importantly, what can you do about it when it happens to you? So, I've been an attorney for about 10 years. I've handled many bed bug cases, recovered over approximately $14 million for our clients in bed bug cases. And usually when somebody comes and says, look, I've got bed bugs, they come to me because they've got it in either a hotel, a vacation rental, or an apartment. So that's what we're going to talk about today. When people want to know, how did I get these things? Usually it's because you were in a place where there were bed bugs. And of course, bed bugs can be picked up from ride sharing, movie theaters, not that anybody's going to the movies right now during coronavirus, sitting in a restaurant. I suppose somebody could brush against you, and if they had one on their clothes, that could then be transferred to your clothes. But typically people get bed bugs once they are in an area that's infested, and they spend some time there, time enough so the bugs can then hitchhike, as it's called, hitchhike onto your clothes or onto your belongings. And of course, the places most people spend the most time are at or in hotel rooms or apartments, because that's where we take our clothes off, we spend the night, we put our clothes back on, we pack up our briefcase, our luggage, and then we leave. And what happens is when the bugs come out and they're searching for something to eat, they go into the clothing and into the luggage, and then they stay with you, and then they go back to wherever you are going from. Now, the bigger question is, other than how did I get bed bugs, what can you do about it? So that's where I get into these bed bug cases, and we say, okay, you've got bed bugs, who is responsible? Now, of course, if you go to a hotel and you've never had bed bugs before, and you spend a night or two, and you start seeing bites break out, and they're itchy and they're red, there's a good chance it's bed bugs. And then usually if that happens and the room is inspected, you're gonna find the bed bugs. Now, what happens sometimes is somebody feels these things, but they don't find the bugs, so they don't know that it's bed bugs, and then they go home. And then they go home, and within several days or even a week or two, they start to develop more of these itchy red bites across their body. And of course, they start to find the bugs. It's a disgusting situation, but what happens very often is people stay at a hotel, don't realize the hotel room is infested. The bugs hitchhike onto the clothing and suitcases, and then the people, the hotel guests, bring the infestation back to their home, which is a huge nightmare because now the house is infested. It's probably going to be over $1,000 to treat it properly, and it's a nightmare for several weeks or months, depending on how bad the infestation can get entrenched and how long it lasts. So, in a situation like that, what you can do about the infestation of bed bugs after you get them is you backtrack and say, okay, now who is responsible for this? Whose negligence is responsible for me getting the infestation? And of course, the position would be, if I stayed at a hotel and the hotel had bed bugs, that shouldn't have happened. And because I got the infestation from the hotel, I'm now going to hold the hotel accountable, likely with a lawsuit, and say, because of your negligence, you gave me an infested room, and now I've brought the infestation back to my home, and now I'm going to hold you responsible for that. So that's how somebody gets bed bugs in a hotel and ends up bringing it back to their house. Now, in an apartment, of course, you could be moved into an infested apartment that had a pre-existing infestation. The landlord did not treat it properly, did not disclose it to you, and now you move in and you start finding bugs. That's pretty simple. If you haven't had a problem and you move into an apartment and you start noticing the bites right away or within several weeks and the bugs in the same amount of time, that means you've probably been moved into an infested apartment, in which case, of course, you would want to hold the landlord responsible for doing that to you. Now, if you've been living in an apartment and you start to find bed bugs in your apartment, you may have picked it up from public transportation or a taxi or a restaurant or anywhere else you might be, but the chances are the infestation has probably spread from an adjacent unit into your unit, which is a disgusting thought, but unfortunately it happens all the time. So again, the question is, what can you do about it once you get bed bugs? The answer is, okay, who, if anyone, was responsible for this infestation spreading and now tormenting you. And of course, if it came from an adjacent unit, you would look to the landlord to say, okay, how long did you know about it in the adjacent unit? So were you put on notice? 2, if you were put on notice, what did you do about it? Did you ignore the complaints, or did you actually treat? And if you did treat, did you treat it the right way, or did you try to nickel and dime it, do some self-treatment, have an untrained maintenance guy spray some over-the-counter chemicals that weren't effective? So what did you do? So of course, if the landlord was negligent and did not treat it correctly and it spread to your unit, then we hold the landlord responsible. So I hope this has been helpful to address the question of how could I have gotten bed bugs, and more importantly, what to do about it once you get them. If you did unfortunately encounter a bed bug infestation in Maryland, please feel free to give me, Dan Whitney, a call. I handle bed bug claims all across Maryland, and of course consultations are always free. I hope this has been helpful. If you'd like to see another topic, a video on another topic, please just leave it in the comments. I'll make one if I can. Thanks for watching. If you've liked it, please leave a thumbs up. And thank you and take care. I'll see you next time.